Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to my channel, Education Studies. Today, we will study about the New Education Policy 2020. The New Education Policy, launched on 29th July 2020, outlines the vision of India's new education system. The policy replaces the previous National Policy of Education 1986 and forms a comprehensive framework to transform both elementary and higher education in India by 2040. Let us have a look on the contents of the policy. Apart from the introduction, the policy includes four parts. First part deals with the school education. Part 2 is related to higher education. Part 3 other key areas of focus. And Part 4 making it happen. In this presentation, we will study about just the first part that deals with the school education. The committee, led by the chairman Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan, submitted the draft New Education Policy on 31st May 2019. It was approved by the Union Cabinet on 29th July 2020. The policy replaced the 34-year-old National Policy on Education 1986. The National Education Policy 2020 is aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The policy aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by 2040. Let us now begin with the recommendations of the policy related to the school education. Here are the major highlights of the points covered under the school education. These points cover early childhood care and education, the foundation of learning, foundational literacy and numeracy, curtailing dropout rates and ensuring universal access to education at all levels, curriculum and pedagogy in school, teachers, equitable and inclusive education, efficient resourcing and effective governance through school complexes clusters, and standard setting and accreditation for school education. In further slides, we will be discussing each of these points in detail. The policy envisages strong investment in early childhood care and education. It is the very foundation of learning. Over 85% of brain development occurs prior to the age of 6, indicating the importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain in early years. The overarching goal will be to ensure universal access to high quality early childhood care and education. For universal access to early childhood care and education, Anganwadi centers will be strengthened. Prior to the age of 5, every child will be moved to a preparatory class or Balvatika. Early childhood care and education will also be introduced in ashram shalas in tribal dominated areas. The responsibility of early childhood care and education curriculum and pedagogy will lie with MHRD. The planning and implementation of early childhood care and education curriculum will be carried out jointly by the ministries of HRD, Women and Child Development, Health and Family Welfare, and tribal affairs. Foundational literacy and numeracy. The ability to read and write, perform certain basic operations with numbers is a necessary foundation for further learning. However, various surveys show that we are currently in a learning crisis. A large number of students in elementary school have not attained foundational literacy and numeracy. The policy sets the goal of universal foundational literacy and numeracy to be achieved till 2025. To this end, a national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy is to be set up by Ministry of Human Resource Development. A people teacher ratio of under 30 is to 1 will be ensured, and in areas having a large number of socio-economically disadvantaged students will aim for teacher pupil ratio under 25 is to 1. Third important point under school education is curtailing dropout rates and ensuring universal access to education at all levels. The survey by NSSO 2017-18 shows 3.22 crore children out of school in the age group of 6 to 17 years. The policy envisages bringing these children into educational folds as early as possible. To achieve this 100% gross enrollment ratio in preschool to secondary level by 2030, two overall initiatives in this respect will be to provide effective and sufficient infrastructure so that all students have access to safe and engaging school education at all levels from pre-primary school to grade 12. The second is to achieve universal participation in school by carefully tracking students as well as the learning levels. Curriculum and pedagogy in school. Learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. The policy proposes restructuring school curriculum and pedagogy in a new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 design corresponding to the age ranges of 3 to 8 years, 8 to 11 years, 11 to 14 years, and 14 to 18 years respectively. First stage is the foundational stage, which includes 3 years at Anganwadi plus 2 years in primary school in grades 1 and 2, both together covering ages 3 to 8 years. The foundational stage will consist of 5 years of flexible multi-level play activity based learning, and the curriculum and pedagogy of early childhood care and education will be followed. Next is the preparatory stage. It includes grades 3 to 5 covering ages 8 to 11 years. The preparatory stage will comprise 3 years of education building on the play, discovery, and activity based pedagogical and curricular style of the foundational stage, and will also begin to incorporate some light textbooks as well as aspects of more formal but interactive classroom learning. Next, we have the middle stage, which includes grades 6 to 8, covering ages 11 to 14 years. The middle stage will comprise 3 years of education, building on the pedagogical and curricular style of the preparatory stage, but with the introduction of subject teachers for learning and discussion of a more abstract concepts in each subject. Next is the secondary stage, which covers grades 9 to 12 in two phases, that is 9 and 10 in the first and 11 and 12 in the second, covering ages 14 to 18 years. The secondary stage will comprise of 4 years of multidisciplinary study, building on the subject oriented pedagogical and curricular style of the middle stage, but with greater depth, greater critical thinking, greater attention to life aspirants, and greater flexibility and student choice of subjects. Multilingualism. It is the well-known fact that young children learn and grasp non-trivial concepts more quickly in their home language or in their mother tongue. Home language is the term used in the New Education Policy 2020. Home language is usually the same language as the mother tongue or that which is spoken by local communities. Hence, mother tongue, local language, regional language should be the medium of instruction at least till grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and beyond. Sanskrit to be offered at all levels of school and higher education as an option for students, including in the three language formula. Other classical languages and literature of India should also be available as options. Several foreign languages will also be offered at the secondary level. Indian Sign Language will be standardized across the country and national and state curriculum materials developed for use by students with hearing impairment. Transforming assessment for students' development. This is another point covered under point 4, that is within curriculum and pedagogy in schools. The aim of assessment in the culture of a schooling system will shift from one that is summative and primarily tests rote memorization skills to one that is more regular and formative, is more competency based, promotes learning and development for our students, and tests higher order skills such as analysis, critical thinking, and conceptual clarity. The progress report will be holistic, a 360-degree multi-dimensional report that reflects in great detail the progress as well as the uniqueness of each learner in the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. Board exams for grades 10 and 12 will be continued but redesigned with holistic development as the aim. A new National Assessment Center, Parak, Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development will be set up as a standard setting body. Teachers. With respect to quality of teacher education, recruitment, deployment, service conditions, and empowerment of teachers, many suggestions have been put forward by the Policy 2020. The high respect for teachers and the high status of the teaching profession must be restored so as to inspire the best to enter the teaching profession. In this respect, a large number of merit-based scholarships, especially from rural areas, shall be instituted across the country to ensure outstanding students enter the teaching profession. Teacher eligibility test will be strengthened and extended. The teacher eligibility tests will be strengthened to inculcate better test material both in terms of the content and pedagogy. The teacher eligibility test will also be extended to cover teachers across all stages of school education, that are foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle and secondary, to ensure an adequate number of teachers across subjects, particularly in subjects such as art, physical education, vocational education, and languages. Teachers could be recruited to a school or a school complex, and the sharing of teachers across schools could be considered. The primary goal of overhauling the service environment and culture of schools will be to maximize the ability of teachers to do their jobs effectively. In this respect, decent and pleasant service conditions will be ensured at school. Teachers will not be engaged in tasks that are not related to teaching. Continuous professional development of teachers. Teachers will be given continuous opportunities for self-improvement and to learn the latest innovations and advances in their profession. Each teacher will be expected to participate in at least 50 hours of CPD opportunities every year for their own professional development. A common guiding set of national professional standards for teachers will be developed by 2022 by NCTE. Equitable and inclusive education, learning for all. Education is the single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality. This policy reaffirms that bridging the social category gaps in access, participation, and learning outcomes of children belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and minorities. Policy recognizes the importance of children with special needs. It envisages free boarding facilities for students of socially, economically disadvantaged background. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas will be strengthened. Special emphasis will be given to socially and economically disadvantaged groups, which include gender, socio-cultural, geographical identities, and disabilities. The policy's suggestions with respect to inclusive education also includes setting up the Gender Inclusion Fund and special education zones for disadvantaged regions and groups. Children with disabilities will be enabled to fully participate in the regular schooling process from the foundational stage to higher education. Every state district will be encouraged to establish Bal Bhavans as a special daytime boarding school to participate in art related, career related, and play related activities. Efficient resourcing and effective governance through school complexes, clusters. The policy envisages establishment of grouping structure called a school complex consisting of one secondary school together with other schools offering lower grades in its neighborhood. It aims for greater resource efficiency and more effective functioning. The district education officer and the block education officer will interact with each school complex as a single unit and facilitate its work. Both short-term and long-term plans will be developed through such complexes. Pairing of one public school with one private school will be adopted so that they may meet and interact with one another. The unutilized capacity of school infrastructure will be used to promote social, intellectual activities for the community. Another significant point under school education is the standard setting and accreditation for school education. The Department of School Education will be responsible for overall monitoring and policy making for the continual improvement of the public education system. An effective quality self-regulation or accreditation system will be instituted for all stages of education. So these were the major points covered under part 1, that is the school education of policy, new education policy 2020. Thank you and have a good day.